lined up perfectly for the ultimate viewing experience of television. And I settled in with my remote control for an evening of television. There was a problem. I was being disturbed by something. Have you ever gone to watch your television shows and suddenly someone starts vacuuming? I don't want to lift my legs. Come on, you knew I was watching my show. The problem is, it wasn't a vacuum that was disturbing me. It was a firestorm. You wouldn't have heard of this firestorm from any television or newspaper or any other media, because it was not meaningful enough to the whole world. No property was lost, no people were damaged, but it did bring change that was well needed. You look a little confused. Have you ever seen someone that was steaming mad? On the night in question, my mother was flaming mad. She had turned into a firestorm. Her flames burned so bright and hot, if you had seen them, they would be ultraviolet. They were clawing, ripping, and tearing their way through the house, and devouring everything that had any memory or any justification of my father. Took these items and threw them into the biggest box you have ever seen in your life. With that, my mother called back the flames, harnessed them inside, lifted this gigantic box, and took it down 2 flights of stairs, and tossed it like a rag doll into the garage. If you had heard about this firestorm on radio or media, it would have said it was caused by man. This man was my father. At one point, my father was a workaholic family man. He enjoyed his work so much. It's what defined him. It's what made his whole life purpose. He was able to provide for our family and do all the things that he needed to sustain us. Of course, this all came crashing down when his bubble popped. It crushed him. He was a shell of a man compared to what he used to be. He could not provide for us anymore. He could not sustain his way of living. He was down. But he found a way to lift himself back up. To become a bully. He bullied our family. He made us feel small, just not worthy of being around. That's when I found my out. It was television. Sit there, just flick through the channels. It was my escape. It was my cocoon. It was my comfort in an uncomfortable world. But my mother found a way for us to get out of this. This firestorm started after something changed. Usually it does. When something changes, people get new ideas, new thoughts, new beginnings. My father had found work. His work was in a different town than us. He was out of our house for 5 days in a row. Whoa! We could breathe. We could talk. We could laugh. We could do what we wanted without being criticized, without being put down. It was so freeing. We started talking. What if he didn't want to come home? Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be awesome? I could watch TV whenever I wanted. Well, that one weekend when he was home, a big fight between him and my mother. The day after, my mother found that flame that I have been talking about. The day that my father was to come home after, pulled up into the driveway and my mother tossed my sister and I the phone. She knew we knew what to do. And she tore down those stairs into that garage, flung open that door, and the flames shot forth. My father did not want to be caught in those flames. Get your stuff and leave! That's what he tried to do. He tried to lift that box and put it into the back of his van, but it was too heavy. He couldn't do it. He had to come back the next day with his brother to pick up that box. My mother is about this tall. My father's about this tall. Bit of a heavy box. My mother, of course, didn't include the television in that. And it was over. My father had left. I walked into that family room the next day, and I actually hugged the TV. Literally. It's these things that we find, that we cling on to in tough situations. The human spirit is inevitably strong, but sometimes we need these crutches to hold on to get us through the tough times. TV was mine. Everybody finds something. Think about your lives. Is there anything you're holding on to? Or you? Is there something that's cocooning you and helping you through? The problem is, if you're in that cocoon too long, as I was, you can lose your self-respect totally. And it's harder than any television, lifestyle, or possession that would ever keep you in a relationship that hurts. So come on out of your cocoon. The fire is